If you've ever wondered how you sit in the chair affects how you drive, or the position of a controller affects how you sit, this could be the video for you. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Ben and I'm from Clinical Mobility Solutions. In today's video we're going to be exploring subtle changes and subtle differences in sitting position and also controller position that could affect how you drive your chair. So we're going to talk about 4 key factors that could change the way you drive. In this video, I'm going to be using our resident skeleton Sid to help us out, to help demonstrate and visualize for you guys the effects of poor positioning. We're going to be focusing on 4 main areas today. We're going to be looking at armrest height, leg rest height, backrest angle, and controller position. Naturally, there are lots of other variables that can affect poor positioning or how you control and drive the chair, but they're the 4 we're going to be focusing on today. Okay, so first up is armrest height and how that can affect you. Again, Sid is in the chair and I've set up 2 different armrest heights and I've gone to the extremes naturally to show you the differences. But we've got quite a low armrest height here and we've got quite a high armrest height there. We'll start with the higher armrest height. With Sid's arm actually rested on the armrest and potentially on the controller, what you'll see, what happens here very evidently, is that his shoulder is raised quite high, and that naturally has an effect on the overall position of his head and also his pelvis as well, so it's forcing him away. The head and the shoulders are big weights for us, so if we're not supporting them correctly, then it has a massive knock-on effect with overall sort of posture maintenance. The complete reverse of that, you have a lower armrest height, and because it's so low, I'll rest it on there. Luckily, actually, it's probably being offset by the fact that I've got a really high armrest height there. But a lower armrest height, when if not supported, if this was floating, let's just move that to the side. This is now floating around the shoulder and the head. If they're not supported and we don't have that lateral stability or that upper body strength, then what will happen is the head and the shoulder will come forward. They will come forward and that will lead to what we class as a kyphotic posture, which is a bend in the top half of the spine. So neither very good. As a bit of guidance, so this is, everyone's very individual, so I appreciate that, but as a good bit of guidance, you want to be looking at level shoulder height. So if you think that your shoulder is slightly raised or it's dropping down too low, then potentially have a look at the armrest height because that could have a significant effect. Number 2, leg rest height. As you can see, we have quite a high foot plate height, which is encouraging the knees to come up and raise away from the cushion. That's not what we want. The cushion is designed to evenly distribute pressure across the upper leg or the top half of the leg. If the foot plates are too high, what happens is the knees are raised and you can see floating very easily. What that encourages then is it encourages the pelvis to actually tilt, and we call it posterior pelvic tilt, but that's almost a slouching position, so the pelvis rolls, comes forward, and then again the spine then bends, and then you get this, again, that sort of kyphotic position. So it's really important that when you do set up your leg rests, that you get height so that there is a decent amount of pressure underneath the top half of the leg to make sure that you're in the optimum position. The reverse of it, if you were to have the foot plates too low, that means that there'll be too much pressure going through the upper leg, all right, which can lead to circulation problems. And again, the similar effect with the pelvis on terms of potentially coming forward. But yeah, you could get numbness and you could get bad circulation. We want to get as much fair, sort of reasonable weight through the feet so we can offload the pressure on the lower part of the body. Okay, number 3 is backrest angle. This actually coincides with provision of backrest as well, so I will touch on that a little bit. Backrest angle can also have a significant effect on how we sit in the chair and also our reach or our ability to control the joystick. You're going to get bored of me talking about posterior pelvic tilt and kyphosis, but the effects are very sort of consistent, depending on your spinal profile, of course, and your condition. In a, let's say, a 90-90 or a 90-degree backrest and or hip, what we class as hip angle, you'll have good contact throughout, and the backrest will be supporting you appropriately. So you'll have good lateral stability. As soon as you start moving that or changing that backrest angle and then therefore hip angle, what happens then, the backrest without a biomechanical anti-shear, so without the backrest moving down and following your profile, what happens is the backrest moves away from you. So this is a biomechanical anti-shear, but it's good to demonstrate. So what would happen here is that the backrest will start to move away and the head will start sliding down the backrest, or the backrest going up, whatever way around you'd like to look at it. But essentially what happens then is a gap is created behind the lower back, and also the pelvis is pushed forward. So we're sliding forward. Imagine a big leather sofa and how we sit on a leather sofa and we're slouching around, and we can quite easily slide out of that or slide forward in it. And we often do because we're comfortable. But that naturally has an effect, and that's rolling our pelvis and not supporting our back correctly and creating a really quite significant curve in that spine. So not good at all. That also then has an effect. So if the further back we are, the further away we are from the joystick. So our reach, again, for the joystick is going to be further. That could encourage the shoulder to come forward. That could therefore encourage a little bit of rotation as well as the tilt. So lots of consideration. Don't get me wrong, backrest recline can be beneficial, especially for lots of different sort of daily functions and for positional support, but the effects are important to note. Directly linked to backrest angle, or the effects of a backrest position, is the provision of the backrest. Now, this is actually a relatively standard backrest that I'm showing you that's provided by the manufacturer. However, a poorly prescribed backrest, whether it be too wide, too deep, too narrow, where the actual lateral supports are, all have an effect on how you could potentially sit in the chair and how well the backrest is supporting and immersing you, and where you're getting that lateral stability from, or the correct type of lateral stability. If the laterals are far too low and they're not positioned for potentially a particular spinal profile that might need sort of a lateral support slightly higher up, or even offset if you have a scoliosis, that all has a massive effect. So ensuring that that is prescribed correctly, along with the cushion, obviously they're all linked, but it's really important to consider. It's not just the angle. The last point we're going to be talking about and considering is the controller position. In order for us to demonstrate the controller position, I'm talking about position both forward and back, and I'm also talking about laterally, so side to side as well. All can have an effect on how you sit in your chair. If the controller is too far away from you, again, the same thing I mentioned about the issues with opening up your backrest angle is that you're going to be reaching further forward for that joystick, which then will encourage the rotation. You'll then not be supported, and then you will start bringing your shoulders and your head forward because you need to try and see the joystick. In the same way, the rotation would be the opposite. I'm just going to bring it out just so I can demonstrate. But what would happen if it was further back? You can see that the shoulder starts raising, and also the rotation would be the opposite way around. So rather than coming forward on the right-hand side, we've gone back on the right-hand side, but forward on the left-hand side. These could be really subtle changes, and you won't necessarily notice them immediately. But what happens is that you'll get used to a certain position, and your body then tries to balance and correct it, which then has more long-term effects on how you posturally sit in your chair and what your posture will look like moving forward as well. That's it for today's video. I hope you found it really informative. This kind of links in with our top tips, which we'll leave a link in either in the description or it'll be up above me somewhere. If you did like the video, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Any questions about what I've discussed today, any questions about the equipment that you've seen, please leave a comment in the comment section, or you can contact us via the website. Thank you very much for watching.